Hey guys, doing a little work on the Nova today, the Nova Wagon. Got a taillight that's not working and went playing back there and the socket's all junk. So just wiring in some new sockets, doing some basic maintenance today. Gonna put new sockets on both sides and put an LED bulb back there because even when they're lit up, the incandescent bulbs, it almost looks like a sun reflection. It doesn't really look like they're even on. So we'll do a little video on a little wiring there, and for anybody who doesn't know how to wire up them taillights, and pretty simple. Pretty simple. That's what we're doing in this little segment. Thanks for stopping by. So what we're using, this is what came. I gotta double check. The ones that are in there are black, but they look the same otherwise. And these take the old push-in type. I was gonna do the blade type, but if I ever want to change it back, I can change it back. And bought these, so these should be pretty bright. They'll shine straight out, nice and bright, and then illuminate around using the reflective properties of the actual factory taillight. Should be pretty bright, should be pretty noticeable. Fairly inexpensive off of Amazon. Dorman's. I think everything is 25 bucks for all of it. So
a few moments later.
All right, so this is what we're replacing. This one's pretty cruddy and the bulb comes in and out. So it looks like it's already been patched once here. We'll get into this. If that's where it is, I'll take it apart there. And then we'll put the new one in there. The new bulbs in. So that's the backup light, which isn't hooked up to the shifter yet. So when I was a truck driver and I had my other shop, had a lot of custom lights and trucks just in general, the electrical goes bad. So as you can see there, I had this all just strictly for wiring. You can still see a bunch of truck lights down there and whatnot. Stuff's gotten tossed on the top of that. When I moved, I'm still digging through stuff. But anyways, when I got my new toolbox, we got one drawer dedicated to wiring. And this is butt connectors and weather type butt connectors and fuses and crimpers and cutters and strippers and more fuses and all kinds of different ends to make my own connectors. More weather tight, simple butt connectors you can heat shrink over. I've got them ones that you can do solder. I think that's what we're going to do on this. I think this size is going to work. So we'll strip them back, get them together good. One of these on, heat shrink it. We got weather pack connectors, you know, more testers and more connectors and some lights and different stuff in here. And then also got all the different male and female plug-ins that these go to. Several different crimper types. I'm not a huge fan of these. They don't really seem to work. They never get them as tight as I'd like them to get. These are even better version of this, and I've got a jaws for these for doing plug wires. Really nice. So I got those for that, and just other miscellaneous wire stuff. These are handy. I don't know if people like these or not, but these are handy. These plug into your fuse box. So then you can put two fuses in there, see that? One for the wire that you're running to whatever it is you need off that fuse box, and one for the original fuse that you're replacing. So you still have a fuse in that fuse box, and then an additional fuse for this wire here. These work pretty slick in a lot of LS swaps because some of the stuff is still under in the engine compartment. You can run straight power for it. There's another one there. And they work pretty slick. It'll give you keyed power or whatever, and fused power, and on something that's pretty basic. Dielectric grease on everything when it comes to connectors. I got dielectric grease there. I got a tube there. I got this one that I use all the time, which is an old wore out aerosol one. I mean, look at how much is left in there when the aerosol's gone. And I've used this, I've had this for 5 years with the aerosol gone and the top cut off for doing stuff on the semi. So yeah, just a little tour of the electrical components. Oh, and that's for crimping the ends for the weather pack connectors. Special crimper for that. So yeah, just a little tour of, nobody likes doing electrical, or as somebody else in the YouTube world calls them, digicals. But it's a lot easier and a lot less aggravating to do if you've got the proper tools, the proper different connectors to do the job. You have options. You're not just stuck going on doing this snap connector and doing, have options. I got this thing I got to hang up yet. This is full of electrical tape. Dispenser. You think I did a lot of electrical? One thing with semis, man, the wiring through the ages, driving in the winter and whatnot, every wire turns green, no matter how hard you heat shrink them, no matter what you weather pack them. Stuff just turns green. It's awful and falls apart, and you're always rewiring. That's how I got into doing it like this. So, all right, back to the job at hand. Another thing we like for tools is the old power probe. You can't beat these for telling you. There's your negative. There's your positive. Actually, this is going to be your negative. This is going to be your ground. This is going to be brake and blinker and running light. So right now we got power at that one. That's a running light. That's a negative. Super bright. Not as bright. So that's my running light. So now we're in the middle of that. You can see it's looped back and forth. I know a lot of guys use lighters or those micro torches to do all their shrink ramping and do all their weather tight. And that's fine in a pinch if you got nothing else. But if you're in a garage and you got an outlet, you're better off using a heat gun. You control it better. See, it got shiny. Now it's dulling up already, but it's melted into the threads. You can see the threads. So you let that cool for a little bit, tug on it. When we're done, I'll do this one. When we're done with that, I'll tape these individually with a little wire harness tape, not electrical, a little wiring harness tape. It'll let it take a little beat and flop it around, sticks better, and it'll protect this. For those of you wondering, this is harness tape. It's more of a cloth and vinyl mix. It's really thin. It's made so that it sticks to itself better. It allows it to not get all messed up rubbing on metal and stuff. It's a different brand that I've ever used before, so I don't know how well it seems to be sticking pretty good. This is real similar to that cloth tape from the factory that you see in a lot of stuff, and you're like, where can I get that? Well, Amazon. Just put in harness tape or cloth electrical tape, and it comes up. light lights up when we plug it in. Doesn't want to clip and stay. No ledges on this. Just going to clip itself once it's in. Well, for some reason, 2 bulbs popped. Cheap Amazon, or a weird short happening. And the blinkers don't work. And they did before. So, what is going on? Hot rodding is fun. So I took the lens off so I could see what I'm actually doing and see if that thing, because I mean that's a pretty thick wall there. And no lip on this or the one I took out. Like to click it in. I got this weird, which isn't on the other one. I don't know if you can see this little bump out, but it's got like a little tab, like there's supposed to be something that goes in there. This one don't have that. But this is identical otherwise. I don't know. Kind of weird. But yeah. As I was saying, I took the tape off thinking, well, maybe I wired this wrong and it was short. No! Did the brakes bright and dim? It's supposed to. For some reason the blinker ain't working on either side, and it was working before. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Let's just double check this one more time. Good. And see this little, see that's for that. That's more of a post. Sure. Can't do this and look at the same time. I bet you that's it, but assuming that worked. Alright, well, clean that out with a little glass cleaner. Might as well clean this side out, right? Well, as bright as we can possibly get it. Get years of that crud out of there. Someday I'll buy new ones. Could polish these, but that lights up pretty good. See, I'll take you over here. That's actually an incandescent. Can you even tell? You can kind of tell from over here. You can see the in the middle there is all about all you can see. Get down and it's not bad. But look at that one. Look at that one. Yeah, that'll definitely work better. All right, guys, I'm gonna do the other side.
2,000 years later.
All right, guys, there's the finished product. I got the door shut. It's noisy out there, and it got hot today, and I don't need all my air conditioning running out. So, world of difference, especially straight on. And here they are, just regular running. Plenty bright, and yeah, So the first set I actually tried, I burned out 3 of them. Let me shut this off. And I said earlier, oh, my blinkers ain't working. They used to work. Well, I didn't have the key on. So that first set I got, I showed you these, and yeah, didn't really work that great. I don't know if it's because I had them on when I was putting them in, the ground would hit, and then they worked immediately. But the minute I put them in the housing, they stopped working, and I couldn't get them to work again. One of them stayed working, the other 3 burned out right away, and so I'm returning those. That's the one thing nice about Amazon. Take them back. They were just under $12 for 4 of them, and this brand I get on Amazon as well. They come in this nice box. That's the ones I'm using in there. I've used that brand on a lot of projects. Here's another box from a different project. I've got several boxes laying around here. I'm going to dig them out. But they, I think they're made in the USA. At least designed in the USA, they say. Designed by Lude in USA. My 03 S10 is where I first came across them. And they're $11.50 for 2. So instead of getting 4, I got 2. But they have a projector end. I should have filmed it before I put them in. But they have an end on them that's like a projector bulb. Look just like the ones that I got there, but they have a glass end. They're sealed better. I have not had any issues with any of the other projects that I've used them on. I've used their headlights, their LED headlights, blinker running, even the dash lights. And they work fantastic. And they're pretty cheap. I just went with those because I wasn't thinking, and they were one of the first ones that popped up, and they had a huge, good rating. 4 of them for that price. I thought, well, I'll have 2 more for a different project. But instantly went bad. So I thought, well, geez, I always run Lude. Let me look at Lude. And sure enough, they came up and 900 lumens. They even have a 1700 lumen. Jeepers creepers. It was $2 more. I'm like, I don't need them. I'm blinding people behind me. This would be plenty. You'll be able to see them just fine and work just fine. So that's that project. So whittling away at a few things and one piece at a time. I'm able to move it in and out now. That's where we got her parked.
Meanwhile,
it's on Holly's website. If any of you ever get a chance, just keep an eye on Holly's website. They have these blowout sales, and you can get some clearance stuff really reasonable. Number one, I bought a ton of t-shirts and this LS hat. LS hat was on sale for like $10, $25 normally. Being I got the LS and the S10, that works. And then they had a bunch of LS Fest t-shirts. No, I'm not sponsored by Holly. It'd be great if I was, but I'm not. But my point is, I got a bunch of shirts that have pictures of cars I've had or actually have on their LS Fest t-shirts from 21, 22, and they're on sale for $6. And since I got fat moving to Florida, all I got is black shirts and double extra large, and I don't really have anything else to wear because I keep telling myself I'm going to lose weight and go back to being an XL instead of a 2XL, and that's not happening. So for $6 a shirt, I bought like 8 of them so I could have some shirts other than just my black t-shirts. I do wear just black around the shop because they're easy to keep clean. You can't tell when I'm all greasy and dirty and sweaty. Not nearly as bad as you can when I'm wearing a blue or a white or a gray heather shirt. That being said, I also got a couple of good things. As you can see, I got a different air cleaner on the old, because the one that was on there was dented and rusty. Did the trick, but it didn't fit real right. Well, I did some measuring. This is a 14-inch. And the one that was on there was a 14-inch top lid, and it was a 14-inch, 14 and a quarter inch or 14 and a half inch can and filter, and then the bottom was a 12-inch. Well, no wonder the damn thing never fit right. It was always kind of balanced on there weird. So that's got a can and filter in it from Holly, and then I'll come in closer here in a second, but it's that black and silver hammer tone. I'm going to do everything dark under here because we don't have any chrome really on the car, so figure I'll just do everything dark, something different, cheap, easy. That's a $64 air cleaner with the filter, and they had them on sale for 18 bucks. You can't buy a filter for 18 bucks. That was a no-brainer. Let me switch it around here and you can see it up close. That's a little different. And I haven't oiled it yet, and it's a little thinner. The one that was on here was a little taller. I don't think I need it. If I do, I can make the other one fit. It's kind of weird. The top lid fits the air cleaner that was on here perfect, but the bottom one is, as you can see, it's a little tighter, and this one flares out a little more. That filter fits weird. But I'll go back to this, and if this works, great. And then they had these knobs. Comes with a knob that's hammer tone, which is a little bit too much, in my opinion. And these nice billet knobs were $2.99, normally like $7. So I got a couple of these, one for my other car that we'll show you later, and then I made these valve covers. I mean, these valve covers here were what were on here, and I cleaned them up. They're not perfect. I'm gonna do something with them. But this motor was orange, and still got to paint the balancer, which is still showing up orange, but I'm doing it in a gray color, kind of grayed out, so it'll be dark gray, light gray, black silver, whatever. And then I did these valve covers a few years ago for a different project, and the tall valve covers didn't actually work for it, so I've been hoarding them. And I normally hate these because this is usually red, and then this is black, and then they're just all look like that, but with this in there, and I don't usually care for it, but I like the shape that they did. Well, I gave it the brush look. Hold this somewhere else, that reflection, something else. I gave it the brush look, and then I painted it blue for the vehicle. It was for my 64, and it didn't fit. They were too tall. I had to go with low profile. And then I did bare metal clear over all of this, and I just taped off the top where everything curves off, and painted them with Harley engine texture paint. That stuff's like 30 bucks a can, but it covers really good, and it's a lot different look. Something different, you know. Go to a car show, nobody's got that. And it just so happens that blue is lighter than that blue, but that'll look good. A good contrast. So we're going to throw those on today. I also got I got these, because the ones that are in here are rusted and beat up and junky, and they're two different sizes. And these, well, maybe I won't be putting these on. These look short. Too short. Yep. Ooh, it'll be close. We'll try them. But still use those. And then the new valve covers, and we'll see what that looks like. I'm just trying to clean this up, guys. You know, a little time that I got with a little money. Just working what I got right now. Probably going to clean that up and paint it, and find a chrome lid for it, or a better lid, and wire wheel all this and get it painted and cleaned up, because this all looks pretty good. A little hand waxing will all come back around. It's just got a lot of surface contaminants on the paint. I may or may not paint that with the Harley engine paint and then leave the centers polished, because that's pretty beat up. Just little cheap detail stuff. So here's the other one. I think that'll look good on there. I think it'll just be something different. I'd like to do something with them headers, but got to take them out, and that, as you can see, is not really something that would be easy to do. You got to pull the motor to do it. So I'll probably pull that bracket off, clean it up, paint that. Just get it respectable under there. Get everything matching and looking decent, so it's not all mismatched and half-assed looking. So that's what I'm working on today. There's your heads up. That's what we're doing today. Thanks for stopping by. Well, let me know what you think, guys. I think that looks a lot better. A lot cleaner. A little more matched. I'm half tempted to paint this block black and that intake black. Alright, guys. Had to do something a little different. ran into a problem. The valve covers I was going to use here, they I like these. I like the way they turned out. It's just something different nobody else has got, obviously. When you do something original like that, you know. They're kind of cool. And for some reason, they don't work on here. I put them on, and I had to hammer them off and prime off the pry bar and hammer them off because if you see those marks right there, see that mark right there, that mark right there, that mark right there, the mark right there, the rockers were hanging up on it. I went to start it and the damn thing was backfiring and missing like crazy. I'm like, well, the only thing I did was put valve covers on, so I went to take the valve covers off. Couldn't get the one off at all. Had to use a pry bar and a hammer at the same time and hammer it off. Mainly because I used these studs. If it was just a regular bolt-in type, that wouldn't have been a problem, then it'd been loose. But because of the studs, that one was really held up. This one was tight, but I could get it off. And, yeah, it was kind of a pain in the ass. Instead of having these and polishing them, they're pretty, you know, I got this hammer tone from Holly. And I thought this would match. I hammer tone this too, but it's just straight black. I might have to get the silver. This might be hammer tone silver, where the silver shows up more. But a lot better. And then started painting the block black. I had it gray before and didn't really, wasn't really digging it. So next time I get it up in the air, I'll paint the balancer black and pan under there black and just cleaning it up cheaply. So that's what we ended up with, and now I went through and did a completely new valve job because then once I put these back on, before I painted them, it was running fine. But as it warmed up, I started getting a little quick backfire out the exhaust. Like I'd rev it up a little bit and I'd get a pop, 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 and not consistent. So I'm just hoping that when the rocker wasn't in the down position and got hung up, you know, it scraped up and got hung up where it couldn't come back down against the valve cover, I'm hoping that valve wasn't open and the piston didn't slap it and bend a valve or two somewhere. So I went through and I redid a new valve job on it, another valve job again, and a couple of them were loose, and they were kind of the ones in the spots. I wasn't real smart. I didn't mark which one was left and right when I took them off, because then I could look to see which ones were rubbing and go, oh, on this side it was 2 and 6, and on this side it was, you know, 3 and 7. I don't remember what side they were. I just took them off because I was upset and freaked out. So I don't know which ones, but I had a few loose on this one. When I went to tighten them, they were loose, which means something moved. And on this one, and hopefully it's just something moved because it was hung up and nothing's bent. The ones that were loose, I pulled the rods out, the connecting rods or the push rods, and I didn't see a bent push rod. So the push rods are fine, which would mean if there's still a problem, it was in the down position and it bent a valve and the valves ain't closing. So if it still does it after I started up this time, yeah, I'm gonna have to do a compression check and see what's going on. And then if I have a leak with all the rockers backed off, then that means I got a bent valve. You imagine having a bent valve because of rocker covers, valve covers? A valve cover I've ran on several motors and never had an issue. They've never rubbed. They've never been a problem. Hell, they were just on my buddy's 500 horse 383 on his Malibu, because the ones he had were too small and the rockers were hitting the roof. And these are taller, so we put the taller ones on because I had them. And I said, well, you can, until you find them, this will get you home. And, you know, after we did some stuff with it, and then I got them back from him, bend a valve because of valve covers? Excuse my French. That would suck, because then I'm pulling heads. So while I was doing this, though, if you remember in the previous video, I had a rocker that was really cockeyed, and it looked like it was made on a Friday or a Monday because it was just pressed wrong. I went through all of these, and I didn't see another one that was doing it. But now, going through, I had a really loose one, and I looked at it, and I'm like, why does it look like it's riding crooked? Kind of like the other side was. So I took it off, and it looks pressed wrong. Either I missed it last time, or it got messed up in the rocker arm debacle here, the valve cover debacle. So two in a set of rockers. These are some cheap ass rockers, made poorly. Because what I ended up doing is ordering a set of roller rockers. A set of roller rockers I've used before in other builds, and they're a good street, not a real high end. I mean, they're Comp Cam's brand. I've never had an issue on my 64 when I switched it over. Boy, I got a problem with rockers. My 64, that was a brand new motor, and I didn't do the valve adjustment on it. It came, the instruction says, when valves are adjusted, everything's done right. Ran it, and after 15,000 miles, it snapped a screw-in stud, and it snapped a rocker on the same cylinder. I don't remember which one was which, exhauster and intake, but on the same cylinder. So I put these Comp Cam's roller rockers in, and I haven't had a problem since. I mean, they ran so much better. But I'm putting them in this. I bought a set. They'll be here, in a few days. Hot rodding, I tell you. I would like to say I'm a crappy mechanic that all this stuff keeps happening. But there's some really good mechanics around me, that drag race professionally and work on professional drag cars and have a great reputation. And when I tell them, this is what I did, well, you did that right, and this is what I did, and you did that right, and what happened? Geez, bad parts, bad luck. I don't know what the deal is. Two bad rockers. I mean, maybe that other one was bad, but it sat right. I mean, it just goes to show you that there's just not a lot of miles on this motor, because as it's running and I'm going through basically a break-in and heat cycling period, things are showing their ugly head, and I don't know if it's cheap parts or what. It seems to have good power, and it had good parts put on it as far as the quality intake. It's head studded, not head bolted. I mean, they studded the head. You don't do that on just a street motor. Guys don't spend the extra money to do that on a street motor. I mean, it's got this bizarre crap going on with the headers, but they're giant headers. So somebody went through the effort to make giant headers work on here. A manual valve body and a 3800 stall, maybe more. The stuff that's been done to this car, it just doesn't seem like they cheaped out. But then they had these stupid cheap stamped rockers. I don't understand that. Unless they were planning on updating them and just that's what came from the machine shop that way until they got money to decide which way to go. I don't know. We're chasing down the gremlins one by one, and just pray for me, guys. Fingers crossed that we didn't bend a valve or slightly tap a valve that got, it's not seating properly or whatever going through, hopefully, and retightening everything doesn't make it worse, because it could. I could really wreck a valve or top of a piston. I just need to be able to move it in and out of the shop. Wrong. Really wrong. I'm gonna leave something sitting in here. That's something rattling. Ha! Yeah, leaving that on your crank, the good thing is it went the opposite direction of the motor, so it spun. Good thing that thing didn't go whipping around and smashing a bunch of shit. Wow. Hey guys, I ain't perfect either. Good Lord. Well, that ain't good. It's a lot of tranny fluid. I know that dipstick was leaking a little bit. I checked the fluid, maybe the damn dipstick popped out and now it's pouring out. It's definitely not engaging correctly, so I gotta top that sucker off with it. Alright guys, next is next.
2,000 years later.
Alright guys, as you can see when we backed her out, that didn't seem like it was backfiring or anything. It was running a little on the tight side. So anyways, we ordered the rockers and they came in, and this is what we got. Alright, that's what we're working with. 3/8 stud, 1.6 high energy aluminum roller tipped rockers. Okay, so they're pretty nice. Not as finished and fancy as some of them are. With locking nut, $229 at Summit, $202 on Amazon for the same ones. I ran these in my 355 small block that's in my 64 C10, and got a few thousand miles on them, and seem to work great. So that was the number 2 exhaust came up. The number 2 intake started going down. So we're rocking 2, setting 3. Be this one. See, they're both up. One of those. Seem to be 1/6s. Taking off 1/6s. It says nowhere on here at all that these are 1/6s. These are just some really cheap ass rockers somebody put on here. So I'm gonna clean this before I put them on. But I'm just test fitting everything before I go through that hassle of fitting everything, cleaning everything, and then nothing fits. So I just want to make sure sit down there right, rods up in there right, down on the centered on the valve tip. Good. Better than the other ones. Room, the guide plate, there's room for the around the whole push rod. Line up pretty good. Actually, better than what's coming off of there. You get the gist of it. I'm gonna go through and clean these, soak them in a little bit of motor oil, bearings, and everything. And then the other thing I'm gonna do, I only did this with the loose ones the other day because I just needed this to be able to move back and forth and make sure it didn't backfire anymore. The bent valve. So I checked the ones that were really loose. I'm gonna check these push rods. This time I'm gonna clean them out, blow some air through them, probably set them in some thing of motor oil and then drop them in here. And I'll come back when I set these up. Just so you see it. A little bucket. I'm gonna individually clean them as I set them on there. Just thinner, paint thinner, lacquer thinner. Get any machine work, dust, assembly. If there's a little nick or something, this will get the grease out. And then I'll have another bucket just like this with some motor oil in it that I'll dip them in and let them sit for a second as I'm pulling the other one out. Now we'll see if we can see this. I can see it with my eye. I don't know if I can make it happen in the video, but with the old and the new on, you can see the edge of these sticks out farther than the edge of those. That's why these were hitting that stinking valve cover. Why are they sticking out so far? I mean, I can line up with the gasket. You can see the ones down there sticking out way farther than these two. And even this one's close. It's harder to tell, but even these are sticking out farther. I might be able to run those other valve covers anyways. Not that that's why I'm doing this, but everything about these rockers is just wrong. Wrong, I say. So, a little update on, oh, you know, how things go in hot rodding, how my luck is. But yeah, we're doing the valve train, putting in our new roller rockers. Going pretty good. I got 3 cylinders left to do. I get 2 pulled out of the box. What I've been doing. One soaking in oil, soak the other in some thinner, clean them up, grab a set, put them in, grab another set from the box. The ones I cleaned up in the oil, the new ones in the thinner, doing a rotation. And I grab the poly locks and set them in my magnetic tray so they're ready to go. And look down and I'm like, I got 3 cylinders left to do. And I only got 3 poly locks. When I look in the under the last set that's still in the box, I'll turn around here in a second. There's 2 there. That's 5 poly locks, and I need 2 per cylinder, and there's 3 cylinders left, which means I need 6. Story of my life. Look all over the place. Like, I don't remember. I've just been taking them out and putting them in a magnetic holder. Looked all over. There ain't one. Well, there's one missing from the box. This is what I got. That's 5. I looked under here and there was 2. This is where they sit in the tray. I can get one here and one here. Sit in the tray, and there's one here and there's one here. So those are the 2 under there. So there was one missing out of here. There's supposed to be 2 in there and 1 here. And listen, like I said, got 4 soaking in oil now, and 2 there. As you can see, got 3. Yeah, how things go sometimes. Oh, I had to call Comcams, and they're nice enough. They're going to send one out, but I don't know if that's going to be a day or 2 or what. So I'm going to go ahead and do 2 cylinders here and get that all done, and just wait on the poly locks, and I'll leave the last cylinder, the old rockers in it, because I need to be able to move this. It shouldn't hurt anything. Just a little update, how things are going. Hot rodding. Don't you love it?
A few moments later.
So that'll be it for this video, guys. A little background on this. It took 6 weeks to get that poly lock. So the car's been sitting up there. I still haven't changed it. I got sidetracked on some other stuff, and I was waiting to finish this video, figuring the poly lock would come in, and I got off on other stuff. And then I remembered the video and thought maybe I could finish it, and I couldn't find where I'd saved the video to. So I came across it the other day, and I'm like, man, I need to get this out. It's an updated video to things that's been going on with that, and that was a couple of months ago. So thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. If you're a return subscriber, I appreciate you coming back to look and check out what's been going on with the Dragon Wagon. I appreciate your loyalty to that. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and like and comment, and help me grow this channel and get better at this by commenting below. Let me know what you think. But be nice. Like we always say, we're a brotherhood of hot rodding. If you got constructive criticism, we'd love to hear it, but there's no reason to be mean about it, so be nice. That being said, guys, don't wait for your hot rod to be perfect to enjoy it. Make it safe, make it reliable, get out, drive it around, figure out what your next step is, get it in the garage, do the next thing. Till next time, guys, thanks for stopping. Appreciate it.